Welcome to my channel, Into the Light. We're going to talk today about a topic that I introduced briefly at the end of one of my other videos, and that is the topic of self-transcendence. This is Abraham Maslow's forgotten and last hierarchy. One of the most powerful things we can do in life is to admit when we are wrong, admit when we have fallen short, and admit when we have an incomplete product, and that is what Abraham Maslow did and realized later in life that his hierarchy was incomplete. Fortunately for us, now we have information on the sixth hierarchy of Abraham Maslow, but unfortunately it is not well known, and this is our attempt to fix that. In this episode, we'll shine some light on the most holistic and highest level of spiritual development, that which is known as self-transcendence, as we take this subject into the light. Alright, let's jump into it now. We have self-transcendence, Maslow's sixth hierarchy. What is self-transcendence? It is rising above the self. It is selfless. It is realization that you are a primary contributor. Yes, you are a primary contributor to the greater good of humanity. The focus is shifted above the self into a higher dimension of reality, that is unified. Some examples of this unification and appreciation in self-transcendence: it is greater appreciation for humanity, for nature, to the universe, and to spirituality. It is not this peak experience, but it is this peak experience, helping others navigate life. Moving on now to the definition of self-transcendence. What is Maslow's definition?
Transcendence refers to the very highest and most inclusive or holistic levels of human consciousness, behaving and relating, as ends rather than means, to oneself, to significant others, to human beings in general, to other species, to nature, and to the cosmos.
A couple key words in this definition I want to point out, the first being inclusiveness. If inclusiveness is already part of your culture, your nature, your upbringing, and how you interact with others, you don't need a program. You don't need a program to tell you how to do it. What you do is you lead by example, you live by example, and hope others adopt it and emulate your lead. Another key word I want to talk about is the ends. Focus on the ends rather than the means. Focus 3 says that leaders create the culture that drives the behavior that produce the results, the desired results. So if you don't like the ends that you're getting, the results that you're getting, lead a different culture that drives a different behavior to achieve the ends and the results that you desire. Let's move now to the revised hierarchy as depicted by the Journal of Transpersonal Psychology. You have your traditional model, your self-actualization, your self-esteem, love and belonging, safety, and your physiological, your survival needs. But now you have self-transcendence is above all the traditional hierarchy and model. What are the virtues and values of self-transcendence, you may ask? Well, first off, you have appreciation. Appreciation is admiration. It is not superficial beauty focused on the external. It is the internal, the true beauty, the excellence. It is honorable and it is greatness. It sees the greatness in all humanity. Number 2, you have gratefulness, capability of expressing thanks. Thanks for all the good, appreciation, a general feeling of being blessed in life. Number 3, you have hope. Finding positivity in the presence, optimization or optimism for the future. You're in a desert situation and you see beauty in that desert. You're working for and expecting the best out of life. And then you have joy, living for the very best day in your life, bringing joy, bringing humor, bringing laughter to life and laughter and joy to others around you. And finally, you have the spiritual component. The spiritual component is connecting to the source, to the being. You are the image. You are the divine image of love. You are living with meaning and purpose. Mostly when I bring up self-transcendence and ask if people have heard of it, they have not. So why have we never heard of this pinnacle achievement? One thing, and it's because Maslow realized later in life that he doubted the original model. He realized it was incomplete and that there is a higher realization. He lumped it in with self-actualization. He bundled in the true experience with self-actualization and realized that that was not complete. He realized that this was a spiritual side. There is a spiritual side to humanity that rises above the self. It transcends the self. And why we haven't heard of it is because mainstream science and
psychology
want you to sit on the spiritual pillar. They want you to sit on the spiritual component of your true total comprehensive fitness. Fortunately for us and many others, people like Abraham Maslow realized that at the end of their life there is something more. There is a spiritual component. So we have our total comprehensive fitness. We have 4 pillars of our total comprehensive fitness: our mental, our physical, our social, and yes, our spiritual component. Traditionally, we have operated with the mental and the spiritual components being too taboo to talk about, and we end up with pillar deuces. Finally, we have embraced the mental health component and we are resulting in trace pillars, but we still mostly lack the spiritual embracing the spiritual component of our 4 pillars, our total, our complete fitness. We need to embrace the spiritual component, and that is what self-transcendence does. A quick overview of our total comprehensive fitness. We have our mental, our physical, our social, and our spiritual components. The mental health, they are all important, but the mental health is the ability to effectively cope in unique mental stressors. Nobody has stress or challenges in their life, do they? Yes, we do. Be aware of these challenges, what is going to push you to the brink, and adapt. Have some people help you with the decision making and how to cope with this. It is important to achieve, if you are feeling mentally stressed, to reach out for help in this area, and they may help you in positive thinking. Your physical component is the ability to adopt and sustain healthy habits and behaviors needed to enhance your health and well-being, get yourself endurance, recovery, have optimal nutrition, and have a strength regimen. Your social component is the ability to engage in healthy social networks. Do not isolate yourself or distance yourself from a social network. Promote overall well-being, optimal performance, communication, connectedness, social support, and teamwork. Social support can often help you realize when you're slipping in some of these areas. The final component, the final pillar in your total comprehensive fitness, is the spiritual component, the one that ties mostly to the self-transcendence topic that we're discussing. It's the ability to adhere to beliefs, principles, or values needed to persevere and prevail in accomplishing your mission. It is accomplishing your mission in life. It is your core values, your perseverance, your perspective, and your meaning and your purpose in your life. This is an essential component. Do not neglect the spiritual component, whether it be without divinity or with divinity. Embrace the spiritual component, embrace meaning and purpose, and do not attack others who may disagree or agree with your belief system. A quick overview of the hierarchy of needs, the traditional hierarchy, the self-actualization, reminds me of an Army commercial.
We do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day.
Hey, First Sergeant. Good morning.
You can do it in the Army.
Self-esteem, RESPECT. Find out what it means to me. It means confidence, strength, and freedom, love and belonging, family, friendship, intimacy, and connectedness, and safety and security of your resources, your property, your health, and your job. Those are essential. Your physiological needs, your water, your food, your sleep, your shelter. And the inverse of this is the degradation of your needs. You are either excessive or lacking in a few of these primary needs. You're volatile, you're defensive, you're either over-consuming or under-consuming of the resources. And you possibly, if you're down here, you're in the hate and isolationness, reclusive, lack of connectedness, and non-intimacy. And then the self-deprecation is disrespect, disrespect for yourself or others, you're unconfident, potentially you're weak, you're dependent, and then self-destruction is the very bottom. Self-destruction, self-sabotage, every turn. If you have looked at this hierarchy and you feel like you meet some of these definitions of the inverse of the hierarchy of needs into the degradation, the degrading of needs, reach out for help. You can do this. Let's get you back inverted and climbing towards all these categories into self-actualization and self-transcendence. You can do this. If the traditional hierarchy has an inverse, so does self-transcendence. That would be selfish dependence. Over here, you're operating with the sense of self being the primary focus. It's all about me, my, oh, my. Over here, you are the sense of self as the broader, higher perspective. It is the sense that something yourself, there's something greater of the greater good to yourself and to humanity. And what is the summary? What is the summary of self-transcendence, and what is it and what is it not? So it is selfless. It is not selfish. It is inclusive. It is not elitism. I mean, it is not, oh, I'm so spiritual, I'm holier than thou, oh yeah, I'm going to judge others because I'm so spiritually superior. No, it is not about elitism. It is compassionate. It is not egocentric. It is authentic love. And authentic love, God is love. So if you are operating in authentic love, you are operating with divinity and a divine nature. You are the imager of the divine nature. You're not spiteful. You are serving many people in medical professions, nurses and others. They serve in the military as well. Service over self. It is not materialistic. It is not materialistic. You're not as concerned with acquiring material goods. You transcend the identity. Society wants to put us in these categories. I want to put us in this category and that category. It transcends. It is not categoristic. It is beyond skin. It is of one blood. Okay? It is not entitled. So what is it? Ultimately, we talked about it here. You got self-transcendence, all the other hierarchies, but ultimately, if you achieve self-transcendence, and I am not saying I'm perfect at it, it is a work in progress, but ultimately you can move into collective transcendence. Collective transcendence is a society. On this show, we talk a lot about evidence for the afterlife and the final destination. We talk about near-death experiences, and those that come back from this experience often emulate this topic, self-transcendence. Let's watch this clip from an interview with Pim van Lommel, a researcher and medical professional in this field of study. Let's hear what he has to say about related to this topic of self-transcendence.
What needs to happen for real change occurring in the hearts and minds of people?
Most people still believe that death is the end of who we are. That it's about power, about money, about a big car, about a young body, about a lot of clothes, about whatever. Just external factors. So when you know that there is a continuity of consciousness after the death of the body, that everything what we perceive is a product of our consciousness. So you have to change your consciousness. You change the world. But you cannot change someone else. You cannot change the world. You cannot change yourself. That is when you realize that the essence of who you are is still important to change things. It's all about love. Everything is connected. What you do to others will come to you back. Positive things and negative things will come back to you because everything is connected. So when you change the way you treat others, it will be better for the world as a whole.
Since self-transcendence encompasses an inclusive sense of spirituality, oneness, unity, love, and peace, it only seems appropriate to close from a quote from the Prince of Peace himself.
I pray that they will all be one, just as you and I are one, as you are in me, Father, and I am in you. And may they be in us, so that the world will believe you sent me. John 17:21.